Hello, welcome back to Callie's Kingdom. As you can see, I have a guest here.
Hello.
This is my friend Brinley.
Hi, I'm Brinley. I am on Instagram at Daughterofabooknerd if you are interested. I am the person that she talks about sometimes in her videos. Yes. And now I'm here on screen. You can see my face.
Please follow her. She's awesome. Today we're doing a Q&A.
Of all the bookish things.
Yay!
Yeah, stick around for an announcement at the end.
Yes.
Super
Very
excited.
exciting.
Okay, should we get started?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first question, which I'm using my phone for this, is what is your favorite genre? Which they might know yours.
Yeah. Well, my favorite genres are fantasy and mystery, and I also like some dystopian too.
And mine are dystopian and romance, very specifically. So we're a little different.
Yeah.
Though we do like some of the same books, so that's good.
Yes.
I don't think we would be as good friends if we were like complete polar opposites.
We're like, I dislike that book you're reading. Okay, what was your favorite series when you were younger?
That was easy. Percy Jackson. That was like my favorite thing. I was obsessed with Percy Jackson for a really long time. Yeah, that was definitely my favorite.
I liked Percy Jackson too, but I really loved a book series called Wings of Fire. I loved it so much. That was like my middle school. It was basically about dragons and a war, and there's like 15 in the series now. It's crazy.
And she made a PowerPoint on how I should read them.
I did. It was like 50 slides, some crazy number.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll like pull it up and react to it sometime.
Well, she has them right over there.
Yeah, they are right over there. And
I did with I have a younger brother, and we read some of the graphic novels together. And I got through the first book in like the half a book, but it's a little too young for me at this point, so I'm not really planning on reading it, but it seems like it was probably very entertaining when you're younger. Exactly.
Like, I read the last 3 books still just because, like, it was my favorite series, so I had to continue, but they didn't feel the same as when you're younger and you're like, dragons!
Yeah. So what is your favorite series overall? That's a tough one.
That is so hard.
Do you have one that, like, really stands out? You might have to do more than one,
Okay. Well, I really like... This is a trilogy, not a series, right? Okay.
Well, you can do, like, trilogy/series, whatever,
Okay. I really like the Renegades trilogy, which I also got her for her birthday, so maybe she'll read it sometime.
I'm so excited to read it. I have a lot of books, and they're, I think I posted a Instagram video about it. I can't remember if I posted that one or I deleted it, like, from my drafts, but it was just like, and I have these books to read, and more books to read, and more, and I have like 30 books in my house that I haven't read yet, so I used to be really good at reading all my books, and I have just slacked off recently. Life has just gotten in the way, but I am currently reading, and I like finished my first book of 2023, so, and I hope to finish the other one very soon, like in the next week, so, and then my series overall is probably, I think this is the name, 1,000 Pieces of You. I'm pretty sure it's a trilogy by Claudia Gray. It's like sci-fi fantasy, which is so random. I know, like, I just said what my favorite genres were, and they're not that, but it is phenomenal. And I fell in love and like read those books so quick. Like, I love them. I need to read them sometime. Maybe I'll need to borrow them from you. Yes, for sure. Okay, so what are your favorite authors? Okay, that's easy. Claudia Gray, which I just mentioned. She's my probably all-time fave. I love her so much. Everything I've read from her, I've loved. There's other books I haven't read I have not read all her books, so I need to read more. I also love Emily Henry, who's like a romance kind of author, and then I also really like Madeline Miller, who is the like Greek, story retelling kind of lady who wrote Circe and Song of Achilles. So, yeah. Okay. My favorite author is probably Marissa Meyer. She wrote the Renegades trilogy, as I was just talking about, but she also wrote Lunar Chronicles, which is also one of my favorite series, which also, interestingly enough, is sci-fi and fantasy. That's so random. But you really like fantasy. I do really like fantasy, but the sci-fi thrown in there. But it's not like sci-fi. It's more like the moon and cyborgs. I don't know. It's like fairy tale retellings, and she really likes doing like fairy tale retellings because she also did Heartless, which is about the Queen of Hearts backstory, which was really good.
and another one that I haven't read yet called Gilded, which I think is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling.
Oh, I've seen that book.
Yeah,
before.
I have it on my bookshelf somewhere.
That's probably where I've seen it. So, name 5 standalone books that you gave 5 stars from the best of your recollection. I know this is probably like you're gonna be like, what? She's gonna list off 5 books. It's good. I feel like
Okay,
you
5 standalones. I don't read standalones a lot, but there was this one. What is this called? I think. There's House of Salt and Sorrows. That was one I read last year. It's so good.
That's one of my 5 stars too.
Yeah, I gave it 5 stars. I think there's technically it's not like a sequel. I guess it's like about one of the characters' younger sisters that's coming out, but I still count this as a standalone.
Yeah, it's like how they both die at the end.
Yeah,
they have a prequel that they just put out, and that was I need to read that. I also have that. Do you have any more you can list?
Yeah, I think it was called 4 Dead Queens. I read that like a couple years ago, but it was really interesting because it combined mystery and fantasy. It was these queens there were like 4 queens who ruled the land, and they each ruled a different section, and they all kept on dying, and it was like the main character trying to figure out what happened, and there was like a big plot twist. It was really good.
Everyone that sounds like Soul of Sorrow. Everyone dying.
It does. Wow. We can see a theme. I like fantasy and death.
Oh no!
Not in real life.
Not in real life. Just in books.
Not death in real life. Fantasy in real life would be cool though. I also read The Wicked Deep last year, which I rated 5 stars. It was good. People die in that as well. Are there any more? Can I only think of those 3? Most of the time I read things that either I think are standalones and they end up being series, or I read series in general.
Yeah. See, that's the opposite of me. I'm more of a standalone reader because I just I do not like to read books that I can't read one series at a time. I can't if you know,
jump around.
Yeah, I can't jump around.
I thought you were just gonna end there. I do not like to read books.
No, I really like series when I find, and usually if there's a series that I have, it's because like I've done research, really meaning I've seen it a lot, and I've been like, I think I'm really gonna like it. But if it's just like random at the store, I'm never gonna pick up a random book.
Yeah, the books that I pick up randomly are when I go to the library, because there's like, if I don't like it, I just return it.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes the books, it's really, you have to really pay attention, because like there's books where you have to like, I always have to go to the very back to be like, are they, advertising the next book in the series? Because sometimes they don't look like they're gonna be another.
Yeah, and then they are.
They trick us.
They do trick us.
Okay, I can speed run this. Okay, 1989 by George Orwell. I've given that one 5 stars for a very long time. Leia by Claudia Gray. Lost Stars by Claudia Gray.
That one too. Okay, that one as well. The Lost Stars. That one was good.
That one was good.
There's my
you didn't rate that 5 stars.
Oh, I didn't? Oh, I rated 4.5. It was like really close up there.
Okay. Honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
Wow. Beach Read by Emily Henry. The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren, I think that's the author's name. She's like a new one. I haven't read a lot of her books. I read that one. I really liked it.
Name 3 series you give 5 stars.
Okay. Since I've already mentioned my favorite, let's see. I'm gonna try and do a different one. Divergent. I love Divergent.
Oh.
Hunger Games. Sometimes I don't give all the books.
Yeah,
5
that's the
stars.
hard thing.
I guess Percy Jackson I could say, but I don't know. I think I gave all the Maze Runner books 5 stars. I don't know. Any of those, but definitely Hunger Games and Divergent I really, really liked.
Those ones are good. Yeah, it's hard because like some of them I love, and then some of them I don't give 5 stars. Well, I already said Renegades, so I don't know if I want to say that again. But I guess I'll say Lunar Chronicles. I talked about that when I was talking about Marissa Myers, and then I just read The Inheritance Games, which was really good. I think I rated the first and second book 5 stars and the last book 4.5, but overall I would say that's like a 5 stars series.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then, this is hard. I also did really like Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go with that.
Okay. Can you name the last book you read?
The last book I read. Oh yeah, it was called To Kill a Kingdom. It was kind of like a Little Mermaid-ish retelling, but not really, because she was a siren and she was trying to get this prince's heart. Yeah, like his literal heart.
What is all these books are like scary.
It was good though. It wasn't scary, because then she starts to fall in love with him, obviously, and there's that.
Oh, okay, so it's like...
I rated it 4 stars because it was good. It wasn't like my favorite, but it was like an enjoyable book.
Yeah. Okay, so my last book that I read was Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, which I do actually read a lot of classics, like a decent amount of classics, too, to try and like, I don't know, round myself out a little. And it was probably one of my favorite classics I've read. I gave it like a 4.5.
Wow.
All of my classics kind of always start as like a 3-ish, unless it's really bad, because I feel like, you know, the writing is always like... Have you ever read a classic where it's like the writing's not good? Like, I've never read a classic where the writing's not good. Like, sometimes it's like, this character really, or like this plot really, but like, you've never found one that's like, the writing's bad. So, yeah, I gave it a 4.5. I would definitely consider reading it if you like classics, but it's like 500 pages, so it's
that is
it's
lot.
a long one, and it also has like a lot of words on the pages. It's not like, it's, you know, kind of smallish font. So, if you're up for the challenge, read it. It took me like maybe 3 months to read, so, which isn't my normal. I can get through a book in like a day if I really need to. So.
Yeah, but with classics, it's harder.
Yeah.
I think I only read classics really for school, but some of them I really enjoy, and some of them I don't.
We'll get her to read some classics.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a fan of classics, I'll convince her. At least
I'll read some for you guys.
At least like Pride and Prejudice or something.
What book are you currently reading?
So I am reading The Kite Runner currently.
Oh, I read that for school.
Yeah. And so like in school we talked about it, but we only read like the first 3 chapters, and then we're like, you know, we're done. And I was like, can I just like read it, please? So I'm a little over a third of the way through the book, and so far I like it. It's honestly, it's really hard to read, which I feel like could end up being like why I would like it so much, because one of my other 5-star books that I didn't mention is called Speak, and that's a really hard book to read. Like, trigger warnings on that book. That book's hard to read, but it like there's something about the writing that like kind of like you need to stay and like finish it. So like I read that book really, really quick, and I don't know, I want to see where it goes. People just keep telling me, don't think it's gonna like get better because it gets worse, and I'm like, no, I don't want it to get worse.
Yeah,
but so far I like it. I don't know if it might. We'll see where it ends up on my star scale at the end.
It was very hard to read. I like the discussions we had about it in my class. I think that's what's good about reading classic books, especially in school, when you get to have discussions about what they mean for the world. Oh wait, and I need to say what book I'm currently reading. Okay, I'm almost done it, but it's a book called Killer Instinct. It's by the same author who wrote Inheritance Games. I saw she wrote this other series called The Naturals. I read the first book, and I think I gave that 4 stars. And now I'm on the second book. It's about these kids who basically they get taken in by the FBI to try to solve like cold cases. And in the first book, I didn't like the characters as much because they seemed very similar to the Inheritance Games characters. The main character seems like the main character in Inheritance Games. One of the love interests seems so much like one of the love interests in Inheritance Games. There was a mean girl who seemed like the mean girl in Inheritance Games. But in the second book, you really expand on their characters and get to see that more. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I want to read those. I feel like I really need to read that. I was just, before we like hopped on camera, I was like looking at her books, and we were talking about some of the books that she read, and I was like, I need to read that, and what's the other one, the murder one with the
Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Yeah,
which I have been looking at forever, and I almost bought it, but then I was like, oh, I can't buy more books. My mom's gonna yell at me.
Struggle of a reader.
So this one is a favorite book that lived up to the hype, like a popular book that lived up to the hype.
I feel like I've been talking about Inheritance Games, I've been hearing about that a lot with like other author tubers that I watch on YouTube, and that really lived up to the hype for me. Yeah,
I'm excited to read that one. I've heard about it a lot. Mine would have to be, I guess, probably Beach Read again, because I think that was like one of the books that I was like, oh, it's so talked about, I need to like read it, and then I finally did, and I was like, oh, it's actually really, really good. Either that or the series that I had mentioned in the beginning, that was also one that I saw, and I was like, I liked like I read the other 2 standalone books before I read that series, and I'm like so glad that I decided to read it. Also, it's really hard to find, so like you gotta really search for it. If you know what thrift books are, I'm pretty sure they have some of them on it, but the last book for some reason is just like trying to find a needle in the haystack. It's terrible. Mm-hmm. I don't know why it's so just the last one, but
that's weird.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay, what is your favorite underrated book?
I'm gonna go with The Rosewood Chronicles.
Oh, I remember those books.
I've only read like half of them so far, because the last 2 just came out. So like the last book just came out, the other one came out the year before, and I just hadn't like had time to read them. But like so far, the 3 books that I've read, they were really good.
Yeah, I read the first 2, I think. I like borrowed them from her. I feel like I never hear anyone talk about A House of Salt and Sorrow, so I'm gonna say that's my favorite underrated book. I actually heard about it from my other friend who likes to read. I was at this local like haunt attraction, and she was talking about this book she was reading that was kind of creepy but fantasy, and I was like, ooh, what's that about? And then I read it, and it was really, really good. So it's like a 12 Dancing Princesses retelling, but like dark, and each of them keep on dying.
See the death. I don't.
I'm such a happy person. I don't know why.
Yeah, she is. I'm like, I also then after she read it, I read it, and I really liked that book. I love that book.
But I've never heard anyone else talk about it.
No, I literally have not. Like some of these other books that like she's talked about, like I've seen other places, and then even if there's not ones that I've seen a lot talked about, but like that book I have never heard anyone speak about ever. So like I don't. We need that book needs more hype.
Exactly. Go and read it, please.
Yes. And our last question here is, what's your favorite YouTube channel show that talks about popular books?
I don't know.
And
what would it be? Maybe Worth the Read.
I was gonna say something else. Worth the Read, yeah. As I'm mumbling.
Okay. Disregard her.
I'm sorry. We're gonna like do an intro to the show, and I'm just gonna be like, yeah.
We are starting a series on my YouTube channel where we talk about popular books and tell you whether they're worth the read or not.
And there's a lot of information that kind of goes with it. So we did create, if you know what Fable is, you might have heard of that. It's kind of like a book club app. You can make book clubs on there. So if you are interested and you want to watch the whole video that we do, and you want to watch the part of the video that's the spoilers, then you can read the book beforehand, and I'll put it out, and then you can read that, and then you cannot be like spoiled, because I know I've been very tempted when it's like, spoilers, don't go to this part, and then you do it anyway, and you're like,
even if it's a book that you're thinking about reading, but you're not like, I don't know, and then you're like, maybe it should.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. So I'm like, I don't want the people to do the same thing. So if you're interested in the book at all, I recommend reading it before the video comes out. So it will be probably out like 1 to 2 weeks, maybe-ish, depending on what it is. If it's like a standalone book, then we'll probably just do one. If it's like a series, we'll put it out ahead of time of like what we're gonna talk about.
Yeah,
and then. Yeah, the link will be in the description.
Yeah.
And it'll be fun.
Exactly. And there are a lot of popular books, so there might have been some that you've already read, and then you won't even have to worry about reading them before the show.
So we'll talk ranging from fantasy to series, and maybe some younger series, maybe some older books. It kind of depends. And we kind of just want to see, we have books picked already for like the first season that we're doing, and then the second season we have some, but like it's more of gonna be like, what do you guys want to
exactly, because then we'll have time to read them before we plan out and do these videos. I know she wants me to read Twilight to talk about that, which I've never read, so
that's a controversial opinion that we'll have to get into in whenever we're gonna talk about that. You'll hear some very interesting opinions. We definitely I for sure have some very strong opinions on some popular books, which in our new video that's going to come out shortly, the first episode, you'll see some interesting opinions that I'm gonna tell you are probably gonna get pretty heated. Even though neither of us disagree, it's just that we're just gonna, it's called ranting.
Agree. Yeah, we agree about a lot of these books, actually, I think. So. Yeah,
we do, which is good.
But we'll also bring a different opinion, like, in different aspects of it. So
exactly, because it's like, I look for books a lot of times with romance. I love romance. I'm a hopeless romantic, so, and that's not your main thing, you know?
No, I like, romance as more of a side plot. Like, I like when, like, a main character has that as a plot, but not, like, the main part of the book, normally.
Yeah. That's why I like I think some books are made better when they have side plots, but I also do just read straight romance, so.
And I think we're going to post these every other Sunday, so when this goes out, our first one will probably be 2 Sundays from now, so. Yeah. Keep an eye out for that.
Consistent. We're gonna be consistent.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And you can see little snippets of either books I'm reading or like maybe some polls on Instagram of like, hey, what do you think? Or like whatever stuff like that. On my Instagram, again, it's Daughterofabooknerd. So if you want maybe like a little more shorter content and you maybe don't want to watch a whole thing, which you should still watch Callie's videos, you can come over to Instagram and watch those. But yeah, I think that's it. So
thanks so much for watching. Make sure you check out her Instagram like we've been saying, and stay tuned for the show.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
Bye.